Yo, this your boy Jimmy the Saint. I'm down here for our first annual Get Started Now. I'm saying we expect a lot of people to come through, a professional panel, some celebrities. I'm here with my man Black De Niro, a few authors and models. You know what I'm saying? We're doing our thing, man. You know what I'm saying? Everybody speak yourself.
So, my first part, I'm Black De Niro, you know what I'm saying? Filmmaker, artist, rap artist, film writer, director, star. You know, we down here to get the first annual Get Started seminar that I thought of, and Jimmy the Saint helped me out with it. We got people like Tiffany Davenport over there who's making calendars and things like that. We got Miss Vita who's making books. We got Danny who's making books. You know, they can tell you themselves, but yeah, this is the first one, man. Get ready. We'll keep on doing it. We'll keep giving you
Dude, it's for the city, man.
Hey, how y'all doing? This Vita in, aka the Book Diva. This is my book, #1 Rule Never Give Up. Make sure y'all get this book. This is a must-read book. Not only do I write books, I'm also a fashion designer. Hold the Line dropping May 17th. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Barbara Washington. I'm the author of Something Cautionary Tales of Life and Betrayal. Not only am I an author and book writer, I write screenplays, plays, web series, anything writing related. Not only the fiction and stuff, you can go to my website to purchase the book, www.parkerwashington.com. Hi, I'm Ms. Davenport, and this is my 2018 calendar. It is available online at www.miz-davenport.com. You can follow me on Instagram at miz_Davenport, _everything is Davenport. You can also tune into my radio show every Monday from 9 to 11 a.m. at EG Radio. Download the TuneIn app. You can listen to it online at www.miz-davenport.com. I am also signing up today for my Urban Model 101 course. It's a 10-week training course to turn your dreams into reality. So if you're ready to turn these Instagram photos into money, don't hesitate to sign up at 267-690-4093 and follow us on Instagram at Davenport. Thank you.
The hustle is really on the mass. That's where you make your money now. But if you on the mass, so that's why a lot of artists now.
You know what I'm saying? I'm glad Black called me, put this thing together. I told him to bring some real influential friends and everything. It's all because of that man right there. He called my phone and said, Joe, you know what I'm saying? I need to go talk to him. You go way back. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad everybody came out, asked questions. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to ask. It's all about learning what you need to learn and everything. Anything you need to know from me will give you the game.
How y'all doing? My name is Carvin Agins. I'm a Grammy Award-winning songwriter and producer. Sold over 80 million records in my career of songwriting and production on my own record label, Ethical Music Entertainment. And I'm here to give y'all the answers to whatever y'all need.
What's going on, y'all? Quentin Williams. Can't really follow that, but thank you, Jimmy.
You can follow that.
For having me out here. I'm Marketing and Promotions Director at Radio 1. Also CEO of St. Harry Productions, spoken word artist, and a few other things.
See, you followed it.
That's it.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Thank everybody for coming out. I'm Black De Niro, rap artist / writer, director. I have 3 movies out currently. First short film, It's More to the Story. It's currently over 10 million views on YouTube. My next movie I put out is called Brush. And with Brush I did a little bit things that people might not know. I put people that had little street things, problems in the same movie as far as Spado, Chris and me, Cassidy and Freeway. And that was a big deal for the city because, you know, the guys had little problems before. So it was good to see them work together. And I had 2 sold-out premieres at the Pearl Theater for that one. I had 1 sold-out premiere at Long Island, and that's on YouTube also. Put it on there 9 months ago. It's currently over 1 million views. And then I had Backfire. That's next. That's only been out for about 6 months. Shout out to Dave Patton. He filmed it, shot, edited it. I also wrote that one, co-directed and starred in that one. Shout out to Jimmy the Saint, man. He helped me put this thing together. Like he said, I've known him for a long time. Shout out to my whole panel. I appreciate all of y'all for coming out to spread your knowledge. I'm actually here to learn from you guys also. Same thing that they said, any questions? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to speak on some things today. It's going to be not the typical seminar because I didn't take any acting classes or any school or anything like that, so I'm just going to give it to you straight in my way, the path that I took to get those views and do what I did as far as YouTube. Shout out to my lovely daughters over there. That's Gianni working the door. That's my mommy. She's in Backfire. They're both in Brush. Shout out to my brother Squad Johnson, co-star in everything I do, and also put a lot of money up towards these projects. Shout out to Dude, all the way in the back. If y'all can turn around and see the back, that's Dude. He's the owner of this place. So, if you guys ever need a place to shoot, film, he do all type of, he do repasses here, he do 5th birthday parties, he do sweet 16s. If you did location for a video and things of that nature, he does that. Shout out to everybody that's participating to help me with this thing. And I got somebody in here from St. Louis. I can't see him. Or is he coming upstairs yet?
Biggest guy in the room right here.
Oh, there you go. He flew over here from St. Louis to see little old me. And this is like the second time that happened. I had somebody flying from Alabama and things like that, so I'm very proud of myself for that. So I'll be speaking first, so I don't want to hold y'all too much, but thanks for coming out. I appreciate all of you. Shout out to my DJ.
Hi everybody, my name is Bernard Linkoski. I'm the founding director and owner of the Philadelphia Acting Studio. I just wanted to say thanks to everybody for taking action and coming out today. It's a great step in the right direction because we have a beautiful panel of people here today. And I can already feel that everybody's going to be speaking from the heart, which is awesome. Jimmy Dessain is a good friend of mine, so I appreciate him inviting me to be here with you all today. And Black and I just became friends now, so I'm here. You don't have to worry about acting classes because I'm here now. And all of you guys, again, just to reiterate what people have already said, we're here for you to answer any questions that you have and to help you motivate, really yourselves, right? Because it all happens internally. We can make it happen if we just make that decision. So I'm honored to be here today, and I look forward to getting to talk with everybody and meeting some of y'all. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Giovanni. I'm my cousin Gio. I'm the president of Gio Global Management. It's a brand and marketing firm, and we specialize in branding, marketing, public relations. We're a local company with a global vision, and we're really dedicated to just pushing our clients to achieve their dreams. I'm very much into the girl power, so I definitely would love to talk to all the ladies in regards to a woman's perspective of what it is to be in a business that is, I guess, not going to be but I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much. Shout out to all my pros. The ladies. But I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Patrice Bell, and I'm a model in New York and in Philly. And also, I am with Shelly on Sing on Saturday. I'm a co-host for Sing on Saturday Night with Shelly Shell. Every fourth Saturday, TGI Friday. Come out, join us. We have a good time. And I'm just here to talk about if anybody wants to know how to become a model and what to do in general. I'm here, ask questions, anything. Thanks to Jimmy and Black and everybody. Thanks for having me a part of that.
Hey everybody, I am Shelly Williams. I was a stand-in, but I believe I am connected to each and every person from the top to the bottom. We have had connections in some type of way. I produced a video show called Urban Expressions. We all started back in 1992. I am the birth of video and the birth of all the new people talking about Patrice and Vita and everybody else. And thank you to Rob. We are on his network, who made multimedia. Thank you to Jimmy. He always hooked me up with the good people. Thank you to Clarence. He is. Well, we got Secret, and we got something else coming down the pipe. We got something good. I don't know if we're going to tell it We got something good coming down the pipe. Black and Narrow, always on Urban Expression back in the day, always a part of Urban Expression. I don't know you too, but hey, what's up? And you, Jill, definitely we connected some type of way. But anyway, I feel connected to everybody. I do a TV show called Single on a Saturday Night Now. It's a relationship talk show. But you know, you can tell I like to talk, right? I'm a talker. I'm gonna tell you a business too. You tell me some stuff. Let me tell you what happened. This one was just playing. Anyway, so I am ready to talk. I've been in this business for a long time, but I call myself Forever 21. So don't get it twisted. 1992, but I'm Forever 21. But thank you to Rockstar P. He's been by my side since age of 12 years old. So I'm glad to see you doing your thing. Glad to see everybody doing their thing. And you definitely are in the right spot. You want to learn some stuff. You want to learn from the best. This my squad right here. This my people. I can't even tell you how connected we are. I love you.
Yeah, Shelly. Yeah, everybody said what they did and all that. I didn't even get a chance to do that. A lot of y'all might know. I did a show called Urban Expressions, a show that she's referring to. I started when I was 13 years old. Club UX, G&Ary, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all remember that. And now I'm on a website called offlimits.com. One of the hottest dopest websites in Philly. Make sure all the artists, you know what I mean, send me your music, the videos and all that so we can put it up there. And I ain't gonna keep talking, but I'm gonna start this thing off. I'm gonna be in the crowd real quick. Now, Rock, real fast. You said to download your app. Well, how exactly can we do that?
I speak soft.
It's all good. It's all good.
I speak soft and fast. Yeah, so Humag Multimedia is our TV network. It's on Apple TV. It's on Roku. It's also a cell phone app. You can download it. Go to Humag, which is WHO ? MAG, all one word, Humag Multimedia. And it is like the hip-hop Netflix, music Netflix. We have everything on there from TV shows, from like Dance Party, you were saying, Dance on Air in the 80s. Yeah, to all new hip-hop movies and tons of TV shows. We got hundreds, actually thousands of music videos out there, concerts, but everyone in hip-hop, we interviewed a few thousand people. So it's on that. WHO ? MAG, Humag Multimedia is the app. It's on all songs.
Okay, alright, we do another question. Let me go over here. Now, a lot of people, they look at you like, oh, I'm not tall, I don't look like that, I can't be no model. Can you let them know that every model doesn't have to look like a runway model, right? Mike. Here we go.
No, you don't have to look like a runway model. When it comes to castings, what I've noticed lately is they want people to look like people. You know, yourself. Like not everybody is extremely tall. You have a lot of petite models, and you have people that just come in different shapes and sizes. So, just lately, like I said, there's been a lot of castings where they just want people to look original. And your natural hair, not, all this.
You can go in with a weave. I know it's a weave.
But yeah, they just want people to look natural. People that look like themselves. That's what sells. More of, depending on what you want to do as far as being a model, that will determine if you want to do runway or whatever it is. That'll determine, okay, if you got to be a little bit taller. But then there's people that are shorter that just have a fierce walk that can actually be a model and be a runway model. So, just being yourself.
Thank you. Now, I done broke the eye. But she was trying to do it too. Like, oh, I got no good space.
Yeah, it actually can because when I first started modeling, I wasn't interested in modeling. I actually was at a networking event for, I was writing children's books at the time. And someone scouted me and they were like, just come into my office. And I was like, okay, maybe, I'll try it out. And from there, I actually fell in love with modeling, but I didn't know how to walk. I was just like, she showed me how to walk, and then you turn it into your own.
Nice hair. I noticed your hair right when you walked in. That's great. So, the union is what you're referring to is the Screen Actors Guild AFTRA, right? So there was two. There was Screen Actors Guild, and then there is AFTRA, right? Which is the American Federation of Television Artists. They merged, so now it's SAG-AFTRA. So that's what you're talking about, right? So here is, in my opinion, the best answer to that. Number one, you decide that that's your goal. You're going to get into the union, right? Yeah. So you start with that in your mind and you think, I want to get into the union, right? And then you go from there and it's almost like Google Translators. You know what I'm talking about, guys, on your phone? Like, do you ever have like the translate button? It's like another language, you press it and then it turns into the other language, right? So what you do is you go with the desire of like, I want to get into the union, and then you changed it to I am in the union. And then you keep repeating that. And that's like your first step, right? And you put that out and you start to project that, okay? Now the ways that you'll get into the union, are you can work a certain amount of background gigs. Have you ever worked that before?
Yes.
How many?
A lot, but offhand, I say really don't.
Okay, so if you get a voucher that they needed a union talent, but they didn't have one available, so then they asked you to come and do the job, that's how you can get a voucher. So I think the last time I checked it, it was maybe like 3 or 5 or something like that. If you get those, then that can get you in, right? Or you can get signed in by a producer, all right? So they want you specifically for the role and you're not in the union, so they can sign you in, all right? So those are the 2 ways that, what it would look like, right? But like I said, the first thing is for you to decide, because I remember when I got into the union, and I barely had any experience, but I met a producer, and the producer said, you need to be in the Screen Actors Guild union if you want to work as an actor. So in my head, I didn't know any better, and I was like, I need to get into the union. So I went out to California, and I walked into the San Diego casting thing, and they're like, okay, and I'm like, yeah, I'm here, I gotta get in the union. And they looked at me and they're like, what? Where are you from? And I'm like, my name's Bernard, I'm from Pennsylvania, I gotta get into the Screen Actors Guild. And they're like, they thought I was kidding, but I was serious. I'm like, what do I gotta do? What do I gotta do? And then finally they pushed the number to me, and then I just called the number every single day, and it was just like the casting people for this TV show, right? And I got vouchered into it. But do you understand, you see where the origin of what happened there was? It was that I decided and I focused on that. And I didn't let anybody else who's like, oh my God, you never get in the union, it's so hard to get in the union in California, there's no jobs in Philadelphia compared to LA and New York, blah, 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 blah. All these bullshit excuses, right? I didn't let, sorry kids, you didn't hear that. I didn't let any of that get into my mind. I just focused on what the goal was, right? And I saw that. So that's the beginning. Does that make sense? And then what will happen is you'll find you'll be in those positions where, okay, but I mean right now, if you get onto a set and you are background, make sure you go up and say, hey, I would like to get a voucher for me being here today. Is that possible? Be very polite, but be very persistent. Does that help you? Awesome.
All right. Okay, we got a question in the back.
I don't need a microphone.
Oh, you man.
I got a question. How you get your projects off the ground?
How do I get them off the ground?
Well, okay. Let me phrase the question. How do you put the project into script? How you start at the paper, then make it to the film? That kind of makes sense.
First, you have to me, the way I do it, you have to have an idea. These are a few notes that I jotted down about that. I think it's like 6 necessary steps that you take personally. This is my opinion. You have to have an idea first. You have to think of the idea that you have in your brain. And once you have that idea, you should write it down. It sounds typical, but you really should write it down. Because I do things like, sometimes I'll be asleep, and I was a rapper first. I'm still a rapper, but I will write a movie scene or a verse in my head while I'm asleep. I can be in the booth, and I'll be like, damn, that joint crazy, and I can wake up from it and be like, and still know it, and instead of writing it down, I go back to sleep like, man, that shit was so dope. I'm not gonna forget it, and then I wake up and I forgot it. So I think you should, it starts with an idea, then you write your idea down, Third, I think you should make a plan to act on your idea. The plan meaning, okay, well, you got your idea, you wrote it down. What's the plan? What's the necessary steps that you need to take? You need to find locations for whatever if you shoot a film, like you asked, you need to find your locations. And everything be a struggle sometimes because the homie that you be with every day that you think gonna let you use his house for a location, he's gonna end up saying no.
Right.
People, yeah, a lot of things like that. So you have to really get out there and find these locations that you need. Find your actors. Find your directors if you're not going to direct it yourself. So that's 4, and 5 is completing the idea. Because a lot of people have ideas in their head and they never complete them. They might just keep it in their head. Like I run into people sometimes and they say, yo man, I love your movie, you should see mine. I mean, I got a movie in my head, I got this story, man, it's with one boy come see the other dude and the other dude did it, and they telling me this all day. And then I see them 8 months later and I done put a whole nother short film out and they still saying the same thing. So their ideas stayed in their head. They didn't even take the necessary step to write it down. Some people write it down. Some people got a whole book of movies, a whole page of rap books, and then they just keep them there. So they stay right there. So it's still stagnant. Some people go as far as finding the locations, doing this, that, and the third, completing the project, but never release it. So that's how you get it off the ground. You have to think of your idea, you have to write it down, you have to act on it, and you have to put your first foot forward towards completing it. And once you complete it, you have to release it. You have to get it out. I don't care how you do it. You know, a lot of people use excuses for not putting their projects out. And the number one excuse I'm sure everybody is saying here, they'll say, I don't have no money. I don't got no money. I make it look good, but I don't got no money. So you can find ways to get, if you put something out that's good, you're going to have people coming and saying, hey, I want to sponsor or executive produce your next project. You know, so you have people that you can't have an excuse on, you know, you don't have no money, you don't have no label behind you, you don't have a cosign, you just have to sit down, write your story, complete it the best way you know how, and get it done. I've seen people write stories and go to people to film them, and it was too high for them to hire, and they went to the pawn shop and got a regular camera and just did it themselves. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you get it off the ground. You got so many different things now that people can use that they don't take advantage of. You got YouTube now on your phone. You should have to go on the computer to load all the stuff up on YouTube. You can go to YouTube app right on your phone right now. I can do it right now. Go to YouTube, push video, and record all this, and place it on my own YouTube channel. And that's content put up. We got Instagram, we got Twitter, we got Facebook, we got Snap, and all this little extra stuff that you can, that's your own platform, that's your own radio station, that's your own TV station. So once again, once you complete that idea and get everything done, release it, man. And if it's good, it's going to catch. I've been rapping for 20 years. And I never had 1 million views on something until I dropped this one to the story. I didn't know that was going to happen, but I put it out with the intent of that happening. I put it out with the intent of people seeing it and people knowing it. So when I put it out and it was good, it caught 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 million views. I'm always going to be proud of that because everybody can't say that they went viral. So now I got the light on me. I got to stay working and keep going. So I keep feeding content, if that answers your question.
Oh, yeah, you did. Like, you mind if I piggyback on that? I love what you just said, brother, because, you know, I heard some similarities between what Bernard has said and what you have said. You know, I want to add everybody in the room, raise your hand if you got an idea. Alright, keep your hand raised if you acted on the idea. Cool, cool. And you put it out there? Alright, so everybody in this room pretty much got an idea, they put it out there. What was the first thing that went through your head before you even started? How do I do this? How am I going to do it? Alright. And if you had to break it down to the simplest thing, I bet you, if it's anything like me, you probably felt a sense of fear. So fear is normal. I don't know if the rest of the panel would agree with me, but whenever
I agree with you.
whenever I had an idea, I would always encounter that fear. So when I heard Bernard speak and I heard Black speak, you know, I thought about, you know, my own challenge of coming face to face with my own fear. And that intention that you was talking about, Black, is so important. It's so important to remind you, got to be your own biggest cheerleader. You know, you got to be your own biggest advocate. And sometimes it's a struggle. Sometimes you don't really believe, it feel like bullshit you putting out there, but you got to keep telling yourself and coming up to, you know, man in the mirror, coming up in the, to woman in the mirror, Gio, I don't want to disrespect the women, but, you know, and just put that out there with confidence. Because as somebody who works in radio, and speaking to Black's point, anybody can get their project off the ground. And people come to me, I work in marketing, so I'm not even a person who has control over what music goes over the airways, but I can tell you I sit in a room with those people, and the first thing that they do when they hear a new name is they go to Google, they go to YouTube, they see how many views, how many likes, because the reality is that most mainstream companies are behind the 8 ball. They're behind the curve, you know, we trying to catch up, and we're seeing what's already popping. So there's all these tools at our disposal to make our ideas happen. So there's really, the only excuse that most of the time that I hear for people not putting their stuff out there is fear. And you can't ever let fear conquer you, because it's just like being a kid. Most of the time it's not even, it's just a monster in the bed that doesn't even really exist. You know, so that's only, as far as getting started for me, that's what it looked like, just coming face to face with my fear and actually just putting it out there. Because there's going to be somebody that loves your stuff. And there's going to be somebody, even if it's not dope the first time, there's going to be people who are inspired by the fact that you put it out there. And then you're going to get that team around you, and you're going to get your tribe, and then your stuff's just going to keep getting better and better.